Hi everybody, Paul here from Hill Country Rings, and today we're going to be making a pair of silver inlay rings using the wood from the customer's favorite tree. And this is a local Texas cedar. So let's go in the shop. Well, this customer, his wife had a cedar tree in her yard all the time she was growing up. It was her favorite tree, and the family had to cut it down because it was interfering with some power lines. So he took the wood from the tree and had it cut up into planks, and he sent me a couple of pieces, and I'm going to cut this up and make it an inlay for a pair of silver rings for them so that they always have that tree with them. So it's something she can always remember it by. So the first thing we're going to do is cut this up on the bandsaw in little blanks. Then we're going to stabilize that in resin in the vacuum chamber. So let's go ahead and cut this up. All right, we've got two kinds of wood going into this resin, and this is that Texas cedar, and then we've got the Brian McKenna MLB baseball bat. So let's go ahead and put that in there. And then we're going to make sure that's all under the resin, and then we're going to put it in the vacuum chamber. So I'm probably going to have to pour a lot more resin in there too to get that. I don't think I have room for all these. Maybe we can stuff them in there if we do them like that. Alright, I'm going to put this metal mesh down here just basically to hold it down. Keep it hold down, chain, to make sure it stays held down, and pour some more resin in there. Make sure everything's covered up. Alright, everybody is under the resin and all weighted down. In the vacuum chamber, we put on the lid. And can't stress enough, if you're going to do anything like this in a vacuum chamber, make sure you have a tempered glass lid, not an acrylic lid. Alright, we turn on the pump. Close the vacuum. Alright, it's been under the vacuum for a while, and now we're going to release the vacuum. So release the vacuum. So that's the good thing about this vacuum chamber, is it will hold the vacuum for a long time. Now we let it sit for a couple of hours and let that resin seep back into the pores of the wood. It's, you know, where all that air was pulled out, now the resin's going to go back in and kind of stabilize that wood. We're going to take off the weights and the metal. It's been sitting under the resin for a couple hours. Now we're going to put the wood out on the cookie sheet, and then we're going to bake it in the little oven to set that resin. And that'll make this almost like this wood, almost like give it a sort of a plastic hardness. So make it a lot more resilient to cracking and just a lot tougher. So we're just laying out our pieces of the Texas cedar and of that baseball bat. So and lay them out like cookies. All right, let's put them in the oven. All right, we put them in the oven at about 200, for about a little over an hour, so that it sets that resin. And we always want to do this outside. And once you do something like this in a little toaster oven, you never want to put any food in it. This is only for doing the resin because it's got some nasty chemicals in there. So we just let it cook. All right, I think the cookies are ready. Let's bring them out. Oh yeah, there we go. All righty. Let's bring them in and take a look at them. All right, here's that wood from the Greg Hoffman Red Sox bat. And it looks like one of the pieces cracked, and sometimes that happens. A piece has a little fault in it, or that was maybe a piece that was really close to where the bat was actually cracked, and so that's probably not going to be unusable, but these other pieces will be. So we'll go ahead and make him want to bring out one of these. And then this is that Texas Cedar, and all these pieces came out looking really good, really nice hardwood. So that makes two really pretty rings. So, all right, so let this cool off, and then start working on the rings. All right, we got the two pieces of cedar picked out, and I went ahead and sanded it smooth on one side to kind of see the grain. It's really pretty. It's going to be really nice. Whenever it's finished, it'll be beautiful. And these are the silver inlay cores that I'm going to be using, his and her set. So what I need to do now is put these onto the lathe, turn them to width or to size, bore them out to fit the core, and then we'll mount these onto the cores. So let's get started with that. When we got the pieces of cedar cut, and we're going to go ahead and cut the little relief cuts on the bandsaw, break it, and then we'll probably do some final sanding to fit these into these reading cores. Got both of them here, so let's go ahead and cut our relief cuts on the bandsaw, and then the moment of truth. Alright, this is where I can tell if I've been a good person or not. Well, that that one cut pretty good. Let's do this one here. Oh yeah, I did too. They just kind of popped right open. They're a little tight, so I need to do some sanding, which is always my favorite part of the video. This one's a little tight. That was a little tight too, but that's actually good. That's what I want, is that to be a little tight so I can sand it, get each of these pieces where they fit right in there like a glove. So let's go ahead and do some of that fun hand sanding. All right, let's get these guys cleaned up with denatured alcohol. You always start on the wood first. I'm going to scuff these guys up a little bit. Alright, try and get some of this excess off. Just make cleanup easier in the long run. Alright, we just let those sit, and then tomorrow we'll come back and turn them. So here's those two silver rings with the cedar, and this is not Texas cedar. I talked to the customer last night. I think this is from Georgia. So this got the red cedar in Georgia, because this is really not like any cedar that we have here in the hill country. So it's a lot different than the cedars I've got in my yard. So that's what made me really curious. But anyway, it's really pretty. And what we're going to do today, it's cured overnight, the inlay. So we're going to cut closer to the rings and then put it back on the lathe. Then we'll probably just use a sander to sand to shape that inlay so it's down and flush with the silver. And then we will do some finish on it and then buff it and polish it. So let's get to that. Alright, here's those two cedar inlay rings on silver. And they really came out beautiful, and I'm sure the customer will be pleased. And I will say this Dr. Kirk's scratch free and the Micro Magic system for doing some of the final sanding and getting everything nice and smooth, I'm actually kind of liking that. And you're probably wondering why I'm doing this outro here in the shop, because it is freezing out there. It's like 18 degrees here in the Texas Hill Country, and I'm not going outside unless I have to. So thanks everybody for watching. If you would like custom rings made, please check out hillcountryrings.com. I'd love to make a ring for you, and if you would like to maybe drop a comment, if you'd like to see some rings being made or some fancy woods, or just subscribe to the channel. It really would help me out. Thanks everybody, and stay warm.